question.
I think we need to get to some questions here. So when professionals and volunteers listen and respect one another and work towards a common mission, they create the best possible experience for youth. And conflict doesn't serve a productive purpose.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, that's the way I see it, is that we need to be more positive about it,
Well,
and
but being positive without being educated, without being honest, is not a good thing.
I would agree with that. You should be honest, but do we need the death drum beat, and the black sackcloth and all that? I mean,
so you're interpreting that the showing of lower numbers is a negative thing, and I see one of the.
Well, how many do you think got bugling? If 8 of them on the last report, 8 people, 8 scouts achieved bugling merit badge in a year?
Yeah,
nationally. That's pretty low.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm pretty sure it's like 2 this year. Okay. Yeah. But we don't know the numbers.
Okay. Oh, and I'm also reacting to a comment that's coming up, which really kind of irritates me because, well, here's the thing.
Okay.
If we only focus on the positive, then we're painting a rhetoric that is false. Okay. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first one.
I'm not saying we should ignore it. I think we should.
We have to acknowledge our failure.
Acknowledge it. Move on. There's so many better things.
For instance, one thing that I'd really like to see, I'll go back on camera here. I really would like to see numbers of the number of each merit badge that are earned. And what I'd like to do about it, I've spoken about this before on the show. I think that one of the underappreciated, very important merit badges is the energy merit badge. And some people might say, "What? That's off the wall. Why do you think such a random merit badge is important?" Well, for most families, what percentage of their monthly income gets spent on energy? And how much do people have any idea where it comes from or how that works? So I personally feel very passionate about the energy merit badge. So if I lead a class of, maybe in a year I might help 20 or 30 scouts earn the energy merit badge, I'd really like to know what portion of the total number of scouts earning that badge that was. And for me, that might be kind of like, hey, wow, I had a noticeable impact in the number of scouts that earned that. I might call up adjacent councils and say, hey, can I help you out with an energy merit badge class?
But that's acting on that information. Like
that's acting on it.
You got to have that information. You're acting on it to make something positive out of it. That's what we need to think about instead of just constantly dwelling on the negativity out there. There's enough of that. We don't need that. Okay.
I absolutely agree.
In a given area, you have Eagle Scouts raising money for all these civic organizations that are getting an Eagle Project. We actually tracked it one year, and it was well over $200,000 given back to the community completely. Did that ever hit the airwaves? Did it ever get out?
Oh, no.
Did it ever? Anyway, and that's just the little district. Okay. That's one district. Now, out of 20 in a council, in a nationwide, it must be in the millions, but it's never, ever talked about. Never talked about. So
the positive things don't hit the news. But the good things don't hit the news. That's unfortunate.
It doesn't sell papers. So, that's the whole thing.
No, I mean, that's the challenge. The challenge that I have, and I'm reading the comments here, great. Let's all get along. And isn't this wonderful? The problem is we have jerks in our organization. Yeah. We have people that are doing things that don't follow the Scout Oath law. And when people like myself call it out,
they should.
Well, Bucky, how's that being kind? It isn't. It's being honest. It's holding accountability. And I personally am tired of the people that naively defend those people that are doing wrong by saying we need to be more positive and we need to assume everybody's doing a good thing.
If they're doing something wrong, that falls into the safe guidelines. Okay. It falls into that. Okay. At that point, there is all of that is moot. They're out. Okay.
But
That's the thing. We need to be focusing on some
but
positive.
there has to be accountability for when they do it wrong.
Yes, there needs to be accountability.
And that's where we're lacking in our scouting organization right now is accountability. I know of some bigger cases, but I'm talking the day-to-day scouting. We've lost so many volunteers, and this is another aspect of recruiting and retention that we don't talk about. When you tick off an adult leader that's given time and is ganged up on because of, I'll call it political views or such, and they're pushed out of scouting, do you think they're out there saying, oh, well, you know what, the program did me wrong, but I still recommend it for every kid? That's where we're losing, is that the adults in scouting, at least in my area, are very cliquey. And I have seen groups of people get pushed out because of that clickiness that could be of value to our scouting program and help it grow. Instead, I look at it as we're losing twice as many as we would have gained if we would have found a way to work with them. That's where my passion comes. That's where
we have a question. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm
all right.
Great.
Well, I think a good point. Yeah, accountability is essential to maintaining the integrity of scouting.
But we lack a lot of that when I don't want to give examples to sell out any identifiable people, but it's horrible out there. We have lost a lot of scouters because of the lack of accountability. You know.
Well, and that's
Here, I'll give you an example. One of my
Let's
hear.
let Nathan.
Oh,
jump in here.
that's all right. I'm not being loud enough to jump in. So one of the things that I can say on that is I'm being very transparent with my district on the positive and the negatives. One of the things I've been cautioned about is it's hard to recruit from a negative side of things. So if I go in swinging for the fences, telling everybody, hey, there used to be 300 units here, we're down to 60, and negative, people start asking the question, why do I want to be involved in this?
Right.
So instead, what I've attempted, and you can talk to people in my district, is these are the things that we have done. These are the things that have not worked. These are the things that have worked. I appreciate all the hard work you're doing. Here is the way that I would like to do this instead. I'm not hiding the bad things or the negative things that have happened. Like the example that I approach when I'm talking to people who used to be in scouting from about 1930, 1940 till about 1980, there was roughly 10 million boys per year in scouting.
Yeah,
10 million. We're currently setting, right now we've crested over 1 million. We were setting at the beginning of the year, I think at 750,000. I mean, I could drive home the point that that's a very negative thing for me to say. However, some people have not acknowledged that we have gotten that small. Yeah. And I think what you're trying to say, Bucky, is that we need to have that acknowledgement that we have decreased that far. What National would like us to do is bring that number back up to about 2 million. They want to do that in the next couple of years. That's a pretty heavy lift. How do we achieve that is by understanding what has worked and what has not worked and what is working now and what has, worked in the past. We're gonna, as we peel back the layers off of the onion, or as we scrape off the dust off the, the gremlin, whatever we want to, call it, we are going to see that there is going to be some things where we have burnt bridges. When we have come to those bridges and crossed them, we burnt them behind us.
Right.
There are communities that are stressed out that, you know, used to have scouting. There's a scout lodge somewhere, or there's a, you know, I just tore apart a Eagle Scout project that was a scout park out in one of our communities. It was bricks that were laid down probably in the 1960s, somewhere around in there, with reclaimed bricks. The community organizers wanted to put a road through the park, so they declassified the park. They've been driving on it for the last 10 years. I went out and removed all the bricks, not because it needed to be done, not because, you know, they couldn't go in with, you know, jackhammers and all that, but I did it out of a respect for the fact that it was done by an Eagle Scout at some point. And understanding that there's communities, as I was doing it, you know, there were people that were walking by going, what's going on? Oh, well, they're tearing this up. They're going to make a road out of this. Oh, well, this used to be the scout park. Yes, you don't have scouting here anymore. Oh, we should change that. And that starts those conversations. So the honest side of that, you know, a scout is trustworthy, is acknowledging, yes, we have a history, we have a past, we have, you know, we can look at pieces of property. A wonderful past. I mean, we went from 1910 not having scouting to 1930. There, you know, I've got a scout. In fact, it's right here, a Scouting for Boys book, 1942 edition. In the front of it, over I think at that point, over 10 million copies had been sold. I mean, it was a huge, just from zero to off the ground running.
Yeah.
So we can get back to that point